going, everyone? And welcome to the Sports Talk Podcast with your host, Alec Pecado. Today, I will be going over my weekend review for weekend recap for fantasy baseball, player of the weekend, waiver wire patience meter, buy low, sell high, and much more. Let's get started. My player of the weekend is the Twins pitcher Joe Ryan. He went 6 innings, gave up 6 earned run, 1 walk, 12 strikeouts. I have seen a lot of good things from Joe Ryan over the recent weeks, and he was supposed to be in like the top 40 of my rankings. I forgot to put his name in there, but I promise you he's going to be in there next week. I was really, really happy with the performance from Joe Ryan this weekend. And that's why he won player of the weekend. Now, my weekend standouts for this weekend. First one was Jared Jones of the Pirates. He gave up 6 hits, 3 earned runs, no walks, 8 strikeouts. In his most recent start. Okay. You might see him in a minute in the waiver wire. But I really think there's something special here with him. Next is Max Fried of the Braves. 6 of the third innings, 4 hits, 1 walk, and 4 strikeouts. Max Fried needed this really bad, and the Braves are going to need Max Fried since Spencer Strider had elbow surgery. I was surprised how good he was this weekend. Max Meyer of the Marlins is next. 6 innings, 6 hits, 1 earned run, 7 strikeouts. Okay, this one, I kind of called this in a weekend preview on Thursday night. I said Max Meyer was going to have a hit or miss start against the Braves, and it was a hit. 7 strikeouts. I think Max Meyer needs to be rostered in a lot more fantasy baseball leagues. And the last one is Red Sox outfielder Masataka Yoshida. He went 2 for 3 with a run scored and a run batted in. It seems like Yoshida is figuring some things out, and he's going to be just fine. Next, we got the waiver wire pitchers part 1. And I just spoke of him a minute ago. Pirates rookie pitcher Jared Jones, 40.4% rostered. I think he needs to be rostered in at least 70% of leagues. He has been really good to start his career. Number 2, Nick Lodolo of the Reds, 19.8% rostered. He just came back off of injury, and he looked dominant in his first start. 10 strikeouts, 1 walk. It looked like the old Nick Lodolo. If you need pitching, I recommend any of these guys. Number 3 on the list, Nestor Cortez. I don't understand why he is so. He's still available in most of ESPN leagues. He's only 37% 37.8% roster, almost 38%. I think he needs to be added in more leagues. And then my last guy is another Pirates pitcher, Martin Perez. 12.7% rostered. He has been really good to start the season. Can he keep it up? I think he might be able to. I don't know. But if he can, he's a good waiver wire ad for the time being. Patience meter. Again, how this works is it's based on 1 to 10. Let's get into it. So my first guy on the patience meter is Chris Bryant of the Rockies. He has struggled to start the season, and I still have supreme confidence in him that he can turn it around. He's a 4 out of 10. Tanner Houck, starting pitcher, Boston Red Sox. 2 out of 10. Now with Tanner Houck, what it is I think he had a really bad start his last start out. I think if he could fix the mistakes he made in that start, his next start, I think he'll be just fine. And then the last one is Henry Davis of the Pirates. Now, with Henry Davis, strikeout. That's his problem. His strikeout rate is very high. If he could cut that in half, I think he'll be fine. He's a 1 out of 10 for me. Waiver wire hitters, part 2. First one, Jackson Merrill, Padres outfielder. He is 24.5% rostered. I meant to take the other 4 out of there. 24.5% rostered. I think he and the next guy I'm going to talk about, they both need to be rostered more. Merrill has been off to a hot start in his MLB career, and I think he can keep it up. I really think he can. Number 2, Colton Cowser. This guy needs to be rostered in a ton more leagues. He has supplanted Austin Hayes in left field. He is the virtually everyday left fielder for the Orioles. He is only 30.3% rostered. I highly suggest you going on and adding him before he is unavailable in your league. Number 3 waiver wire guy, Jose Caballero from the Tampa Bay Rays. 14.3% rostered. All Caballero has done since the first 2 games of the season, he was trying to get his feet under him with the Rays. Ever since then, he's hit. He gets hits, he steals bases, and that's your prototypical. That's what you want in fantasy baseball, is a guy that can hit and a guy that can steal bases. And that is what Caballero brings. And my last waiver wire ad for hitters is Brett Beatty, third baseman, Mets. 8.3% roster. It seems like the breakout is for real with Brett Beatty. I would venture to bet that he's going to break out this year. Honorable mentions go to Michael Busch of the Cubs, who has been raking. So Michael Busch, Richie Palacios of the Rays, Ahmed Rosario of the Rays. Best hitter matchups. Here are the 5 best hitter matchups for week 4. At number 4, you've got the Guardians. They've got 4 at Boston, 3 at home against Oakland. I absolutely like, with a passion, I like both of these hitter matchups for the Guardians. Take into account that first game with Boston starts at 11 o'clock today because it's Patriots Day in Boston. So if you need Guardians, I would go out to the waiver wire and pick them up ASAP because they start at 11 a.m. Number 4 hitter matchup I like is the Baltimore Orioles. They've got 3 versus the Twins. and 3 at Kansas City. Now, I don't necessarily like the Kansas City matchup as much. I salivate over the Twins. The Twins gets me excited. Their pitching, other than Simeon Woods Richardson over the weekend, has been horrendous. Bailey Ober got shelled in his first or second start. Pablo Lopez got shelled over the weekend. I wouldn't be surprised if the Orioles put a lot of runs up in that 3-game set in Minnesota. At home against Minnesota. My number 3 hitter matchup I like this week is the Cubs. 7-game week. 3 at the Diamondbacks. 4 at home versus the Marlins. And I'm going to say this. I would stream Michael Busch. And if any other, Michael Busch, Christopher Morel, Yan Gomes, Miguel Amaya, I would stream any Cubs. If there's any Cubs players available on your waiver wire for that series against Miami, I would pick them up and stream them. My number 2 hitter matchups I like this week. My number 2 hitter matchup I like this week is the Tampa Bay Rays. 7-game, 4 at home against the Angels, 3 at the Yankees. The Yankees one it's topsy-turvy depending on the pitching matchup for the Rays, but I love that 4-game set against the Angels. Absolutely love it a lot. And in my first hitter matchup, I like this. My number 1 hitter matchup this week that I like is the Reds. 6 games this week, 3 at home against the Angels, 3 at home against the Phillies. I absolutely like that first one. I like the Angels a lot, regardless of who's pitching, other than maybe Reed Detmers. Phillies is, maybe. All depends on who's pitching for them. A new segment on Monday on the show tonight. It is buy low, sell high. I'm buying low. The first guy, and you get 2 of each. The first guy I'm buying low on is Yandy Diaz, Tampa Bay Rays, first baseman. I think he's figuring some things out, but I think that this is a perfect time to go buy low on Yandy while you can before he starts to get hot again. Because once he gets hot, the manager that has Yandy Diaz will not want to get rid of him. They might be panicking right now because they're going to say, oh, he just won the batting title last year, and he's batting under 300 2 weeks into the season. So that's number 1 on the buy low, sell high. Number 2 on the buy low side is Luis Castillo. History shows that he struggles big time in the month of April, but then going forward, throughout the rest of the season, he has a really good ERA. So right now is the time. If you want to buy low on Castillo, I would do it. This is the time to buy low on Luis Castillo. And now the sell high candidates. Number 1 is Cole Ragans. You saw in my rankings last night how high I am on Cole Ragans. He's in the top 10. Can he stay there? Possibly. But I think he's had a really good start to the season. I think this is the time. If you want to, like any of these guys, if you want to buy low or sell high on them, this is the time to do it. Cole Ragans, this is the time to sell high on him before he has a blow-up start. And then if you were going to trade him, then you decide, I'm going to keep him because I think he could bounce back. So if you want to trade Ragans now, I think now's the time to sell high on him. And then the last sell high guy is Sean Manaea of the Mets. Sean Manaea is another guy that started off the season really good. And I think Mania can keep it up, yes, but I think right now is the absolute perfect time to sell a high on Sean Mania. And my worst hitter matchups this week. Top 5. At number 5 is the Rockies. It's another split week between home games and road games for them. They've got 3 at Philadelphia against the Phillies and 3 at home against the Mariners. Brutal matchups for hitters and maybe their pitching matchups. I don't like either of these at all. The next one is the Marlins. They've got 7 games this week. 3 versus the Giants, 4 at the Cubs. I talked about the Cubs briefly and how I like them. It's the opposite with the Marlins. It's because they only have one consistent hitter on their team, and it's Jake Burger right now. Everybody else is kind of struggling. I do, however, like a little bit like their matchup against the Giants. My number 3. Ooh. I'm checking something. I had the Cubs on there twice. That's my fault. Yeah. We're going to have to do this again. No. We'll do it on the fly. Let me look up something. I agree. Hold up. I'm looking up something. Tiger schedule. We're going to pretend this is the Tigers. I know it says I made the same error yesterday on the show. That is not supposed to say Cubs. Here, I'm going to fix it for you. I'm going to fix it. No, that's not what I needed. I should have fixed it right before the show. Oh, give me a second, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry about that. I am really sorry. Yes, we are still here. Give me 2 seconds. 3. Okay. That error has been fixed. I'm pulling it up right now. I know we're doing this live, but bear with me. Everybody makes mistakes. That was a mistake on my part. We're going to fix it. Okay, here we go. So we were at number 3. Worst hitter matchups this week is the Tigers. They got 3 against the Rangers and 3 against the Twins. I like the Twins, but I don't like the Rangers. I don't like the Rangers matchups. That's the defending World Series champs. Number 2 is the Athletics. They got 4 at the Yankees and 3 at Baltimore. And then number 1 is the Padres. 6 games this week. 3 at the Brewers, 3 at home against the Blue Jays. I don't like that matchup either. And if you didn't hear, the Sports Talk podcast is going on the road this year to a college football venue. We are going to Blacksburg, Virginia, September 5th through the 9th. And we will be live streaming all 4 days that we are in Blacksburg, starting on Thursday. Times are going to vary, but you will get, let me give you a little teaser right now. The first and last day are going to be a specific tour of said Virginia Tech University. And then I'll give you the full details September 4th. Be looking out for that video September 4th. And ladies and gentlemen, the Sports Talk podcast, we have some upcoming podcast episodes. Tomorrow, I have 2 podcast episodes for you. I'm supposed to have 2 for you tonight, but I moved the one tonight to tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning at, I think it's going to be 9 a.m. is the transfer port. No, tomorrow night at 10 p.m. is the transfer portal spring edition. We will be predicting like we did in the winter. We will be predicting 5 different players from each position and giving you 3 schools where I think they'll go and why they would fit there. And then tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. will be the Monday recap for fantasy baseball. Thursday will be the Wednesday recap for fantasy baseball. Friday, we have 3 videos for you. We have weekend preview for fantasy baseball. We have the NHL playoff predictions video, as well as NBA in that same video. And then Friday night, we have I'm going to say watch party / play-by-play of the New York Yankees and Tampa Bay Rays game. And ladies and gentlemen, the last thing I'm going to say before we end off the show today is we offer memberships and merch. And I highly suggest you get some merch to support the channel and as well purchase a membership if you feel. Not going to force anybody to purchase a membership, but if you want a membership, go ahead and subscribe to the. Go ahead and purchase a membership is what I was trying to say. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a thumbs up on the video if you've enjoyed it. But that will wrap up the Sports Talk podcast. Until the next episode, I will see y'all when I see y'all. Have a lovely rest of your morning.